Happy Tuesday, everyone. Time for another Cover 4 presented by JCPenney. You guys look really good today.
We're very monochromatic.
Got to throw that out there. Dave, Tay, and Manny. I'm Lindsay. We are at the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studio, and we've got so much to cover today, including our new kicker. Yes, we'll let you know who it is. Stand by. Dave, first, kickoff.
Yeah, well, to get that new kicker onto the roster, the Cowboys had to release DeMontre Moore, which means all of their primary free agency signings, Nolan Carroll, Stephen Paya, DeMontre Moore. It's week 8. Not a single one of them is on the roster right now. Not a great look, no.
Not a great look for the Browns, as they were probably watching Carson Wentz's incredible performance last night on Monday Night Football, and yes, they did pass on him and Dak. Not good.
How about another Dak stat? 3 touchdowns, 1 interception or less. He's done that 7 times already through a year and a half. Fastest quarterback to do that since Dan Marino. Always good company to be in.
Whoop, whoop.
I hope he wins
Marino.
More Super Bowls. I hope he wins more Super Bowls.
Fact or fiction? That is what we're starting off today on Cover 4, and I'm going to hit you guys with this. The Cowboys have the best red zone offense in the NFL. Fact or fiction?
They definitely didn't in the first 2 weeks, guys. It took them a little bit to figure that out. I didn't really feel like they had their red zone offense really clicking until probably week 3 against the Cardinals. Would you guys agree? So I would say fiction on this, but I think they're getting better.
I think it's fact, because what do we always say? What have you done for me
Lately.
And lately they've been killing it. Like, I didn't even realize how many trips they've gone into the red zone and scored a touchdown in these last 2 or 3 weeks. When you talk about the mobile aspect of Dak's game, a guy like Dez Bryant, safety blankets like Cole Beasley and Jason Witten, and then obviously Ezekiel Elliott, that is a tough thing to deal with when you get down inside the 10-yard line, and you've seen that play out here in these last few games.
Fact or fiction? Manny, tell us the truth here. The injuries to the Eagles last night are putting the NFC East up for grabs?
First and foremost, have to acknowledge the injuries. Jason Peters, one of the game's greatest left tackles. Jordan Hicks, my neighbor, little bro. Sorry for those guys.
My best friend.
But does it open up the door? No. The Eagles are a complete team. If you watch football, if you watch the game, you saw Hicks went out in like the first quarter, didn't affect him. JP went out in the middle of the game, second or third quarter, I believe. I don't believe it affected them too much. I don't think it opens up the doors.
Not only that, but they've built up a 6-1 record to this point in the year. And I mean, yeah, those are great players, but they're not the type of players where the wheels are just going to fall off this thing because of that. I think
The wheels of the Wentz wagon?
exactly. I mean, the Wentz wagon's going to roll on based on the way he played against Washington last night. I mean, that was seriously impressive. It'll definitely hurt. You got to cope with stuff like that, but I don't think this magically, makes them a bad team or anything like that.
Fact or fiction? If Sean Lee and Ezekiel Elliott play for the remainder of the season, the Cowboys make the playoffs.
Fact. I think that's a really easy fact, because if Sean Lee and Ezekiel Elliott do play the rest of the season, knock on wood, hopefully that's not even a question for Sean Lee, but Ezekiel Elliott's still up in the air about the jury case or court case that's just continually going on. I'll never be a lawyer, so I have to say fact.
This was tough for me, only because the Cowboys, their playoff chances aren't really in their hands anymore, right? It depends on what's going to happen with the other teams. You already have 3 losses. Everybody knows the Cowboys have one of the most difficult schedules the remainder of the season. I can't say fact, because even if you win all 10, you're 13-3. Yes, that's a lot. It's complicated.
Their destiny's still in their hands. If they win all the rest of their games, they're going to go to the playoffs. That's probably not going to happen. But Ezekiel Elliott and Sean Lee give you a great chance to win more of those games than you're going to lose. If those 2 guys play, I do think they find a way into the playoffs one way or the other.
Fact or fiction? The Cowboys' kicking situation is a bigger deal than you may realize.
It's a huge deal. Fact.
Such a big fact.
2 years ago, we're playing Monday Night Football against the Washington Redskins, and Dan Bailey is literally carried off the field by Mr. Jason Witten himself, because they won with a kick. I mean, how many games have we seen that have come down this season? 61 yards.
Every time we started an NFL season, our coach would say 24% of games, nearly a quarter of games, are decided by a field goal or less in the NFL. That's just a fact of a matter. That's a blank statistic. Dan Bailey is the most accurate kicker in NFL history. So clearly this means more than I think we're giving it the attention of.
Maybe only fiction if it's only a couple weeks or something, but
maybe. Hey, Mike Nugent is now with the Cowboys. I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll be okay, but this has to be concerning compared to the most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Okay, well, we saw what could happen if a different player like Jeff Heath decided to be the kicker for a day. What about some other Cowboys if we wanted to switch it up? What would you guys think of Dez Bryant at quarterback?
Ooh, Dez
Lefty.
at QB. We saw the touchdown pass he had to Jason Witten last season, and I was very impressed. So I would like that. I would love to see Dez Bryant take a shot at that. Look, here it is.
That throw doesn't
Greatness.
do justice to what a cannon that guy's
Oh,
got.
he has a great arm.
And you got to think, then you're running the zone read too.
Yeah, I'm all
I mean,
about that.
your offense
Big fan
is
of
pretty
that.
dynamic.
Yeah. Okay, what would you guys like Sean Lee at running back? What would you think of that?
I mean, yes.
Fullback maybe?
He can find holes. He has a knack for wiggling through the deep
Durability
offensive and defensive
is
lines.
my concern here.
Could he hurdle someone?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Sean
don't
Lee,
need
you're a
him.
great
Stick to linebacker.
linebacker. Pro Bowl linebacker, all pro.
Stay
Stay
there. All right, you guys, what about Jason Witten at defensive end? This is what he wanted to play at Tennessee, and his coach switched him to tight end, and he wouldn't talk to him for a month. He wanted to be a J.J. Watt.
I get it. Okay, what do you need at defensive end, Manny? You need to
Ball
be able
get off?
You need get off. You need to be able to bend, right?
But think about a young Jason Witten.
Okay.
Don't give me the 14-year, but think about a young
All right,
one, Dave.
I'm thinking right now, and right now I think
No,
that
right
would
now,
be not
not
great.
good.
Maybe if he's 22 years old, I'd be willing to give it a look.
No.
All right, Tay wants to see Chris Jones at linebacker.
Chris Jones delivered one of the most impressive tackles on special teams last year.
Sure did.
It was highly touted as one of, just the Punchisher. Is his known nickname now. Let's watch it.
Bang, bang.
Boom. Gone. And what I love most about this is the after swag. The after swag of just looking
You've
down
been there
at the guy.
before, Tay.
Yeah, he has.
been there before.
He has. So, big fan of this, and I think Chris Jones, I guess I'll start the petition now. If Sean Lee goes out, you're in.
Nice, I like it. I will never forget that play. What about Cole Beasley at quarterback, something he did in high school a little
See,
bit?
I'm not sure. Can he see over the line of scrimmage?
Woo-wee.
He's missing some receivers for sure.
He's got an arm though.
Yeah, but that's not
got an
everything now.
He'll see Ryan Switzer.
True.
Same height. Same height.
You run some zone read with him, maybe some wildcat. I'd like Dez back there more, but I'd give him a chance.
All right,
Yeah,
guys,
big
let's
fan.
take a break. When we come back, we are going to discuss a little warm and fuzzy because there were a lot of good things going on this weekend, and Manny wants to talk more about what's going on up in Pennsylvania. That's next.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Stern inside the AT&T Media Center. Travis Frederick is giving back with his Blocking Out Hunger Foundation that is helping childhood hunger. On Monday night, him and a few of his teammates actually served as waiters at his gala. So stay tuned for everything inside the AT&T Media Center.
Throws a deep fake for a touchdown. By the time he's hit, he's sacked. Running right on it with Terrence Williams. Touchdown Cowboys. Beasley left side. Caught it over the shoulder. Jason Witten. Touchdown. Cowboys win.
Manny talked last week about how there's so much good that goes on in the NFL that is never seen, and a lot of it we are going to cover right now because it is time to get warm and fuzzy. And Carson Wentz, guys, was on a national stage last night, got to visit with the family of the Dutch destroyer Lucas, and it was just a touching moment.
It was a touching moment, right, Manny?
I mean, Carson is that kind of guy. He's a stand-up guy. He's a stand-out guy. So it's cool when not only do the players, they talk about it, but when you get to see it firsthand. That's Carson right there with Zach Ertz, the Eagles tight end. And really, both of them just class acts.
Absolutely, all around. Here's what the family had to say about Carson and his impact.
Lucas wanted to give him one of his Dutch destroyer bracelets. He took it out and he handed it to Carson, and that was sort of his way of saying thank you.
It's crazy.
Carson comes running out on that field, and what we see is Lucas's bracelet.
I just knew that there was something that I'd never forget. So much deeper than football. It's what it comes down to. It's so much more than just a game.
The Eagles really hit a home run with that guy.
They did.
I
On
really
the
like
field,
it.
off the field. Like,
Yeah.
That's good people right there.
Good people right there. And Mark Ingram was doing the same thing, making people's day. Dave jumping into the crowd, and I love this team.
Well, the thing I love about this is that, the Lambeau Leap is the Packers thing, and Mark Ingram plays for the Saints. So he happened to find Todd Fruge, who's a visiting Saints fan from Louisiana, guy's also battling cancer. I can't imagine there's that many Saints fans on the front row at Lambeau Field. So for him to pick that guy out, that's pretty special.
Absolutely.
And it's got to be a big moment for a guy who crossed the country to watch his team play.
Arizona State, let's switch it over to college football. We'll be honoring Pat Tillman with these uniforms and names on the back of their helmets.
This is not only appealing to everyone who's going to be watching this game, but it gives a greater message to Pat Tillman and what he was able to do there. And I mean, they are always able to honor him out there, and so just really neat.
Dope uniform, too.
Guys, at the Taylor and Dave, you guys were at the game in Santa Clara, and the Cowboys had special guests there.
Yeah, we talked about the French family a while back, actually, when he passed away, and how Jerry Jones had sent a letter to his family, and now they were actually able to come to the game and be special guests. Jerry Jones greeted them. Obviously, they were on the sidelines. Hopefully, a very special game for them.
Very nice touch. And Taylor, you and Manny were both at the Mavs game last night to see, maybe you saw this. I don't know, this was pregame.
Yeah, this was pretty special. I saw it on Twitter. We were at the game, but I got there a little later after this event. Everybody knows about Steph Curry and the kind of guy he is, but this was special.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
For a little boy who just lost his dad, I think this was more than anyone would ask for, and for him to take the time to do that and to give him his attention and care, I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we are excited to always talk about things warm and fuzzy, but also Turn Up Tuesdays is a new thing we have going on here. We are going to cover the best celebrations of the weekend, guys, starting off with the Chargers. This wasn't a celebration, but somebody turned up too much in this corner of the end zone because nobody could really stay on their feet. The Chargers, can we fix this, guys?
They turned up the sprinklers too much.
Whoa.
So,
That's not okay.
It
Like,
kinda
people
looks
get hurt
planned.
that way.
you know, that is right, though, because I remember Reggie Bush sued, I forget what team it was one time, because he scored a touchdown and went from turf to concrete, and he slipped and tore his ACL. This is 3 or 4 years back.
I do remember
So
that.
bad.
Obviously, the Chargers can't sue themselves because it looks like this is
They
not
don't
ideal.
even have a stadium. So,
Not ideal.
all right, Saints roasting marshmallows after.
I just, and we're going to get to a couple more of these. At what point are we going to run out of group activities?
Never.
Never, Dave.
No.
Never.
They're so
Never.
good.
That's amazing.
Never.
All right,
Stay
we got
tuned to our
somebody
Halloween costume.
reclining in the stands. Turn Up Tuesday.
I saw this one.
Oh, Robbie Anderson, you just catch one touchdown and you think that you can hang in people's living
Hey,
rooms.
this is what I was thinking, though. This is what you can do when your stadium doesn't sell out.
That is a
you're
great
not
point.
doing this right now in the stadium.
That is a great point.
You're sitting in somebody's lap.
That's where Zeke's mom was sitting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're in somebody's lap.
Some important people.
This is a
sitting
home
at
game
AT&T.
with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all empty.
Those look
not
comfy.
good. Tyreek Hill. All right, we're all a fan of this guy.
Yeah, I love his hair.
What a game this was, man.
Pieces out, then dials up. I mean, that pass, though, Alex Smith all day.
He said something Manny would totally do. A little piece.
Who you calling up?
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Hey, Hotline Reek?
All right, this is the
my
last
favorite.
one. This is obviously our favorite. This is where, Dave, you're never going to run out of ideas.
Never
Hide
are.
and seek
This is
right
an
here.
old school game, Cash. Like, this is what you lived for as a kid, and they reenacted it.
I just love how, Antonio Brown apparently doesn't know what's going on because he didn't try to hide at all.
He's
just
like, did you guys talk
I
about
think
this?
he was a supervising parent.
Oh.
You always had to have a parent supervise.
I love it.
You do? I don't know. If you say so, but I just
Somebody's
think
got to give the
Antonio didn't know
hints,
what
you
to do.
know?
Yeah.
Go this way, go this way.
Antonio's like, guys, why didn't you tell me about this?
Children. Children. All right, let's do a little sound off. It might be predictable. Apologize if it is. But we want to talk about Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. Similar in age, similar in what's happened.
Similar in stats right now.
True.
Similar stats.
What else is there to talk about?
Same
else
amount
is there
of
to talk
touchdowns.
about? Yeah.
17 touchdowns. Obviously, Dak has 3 rushing ones, though, so that's impressive. But Carson Wentz is just as mobile. I mean, it's really hard to compare these both.
You're not kidding. Like
Yeah, he's very mobile.
I didn't know that about this guy.
Yeah.
Like he can move, man. And I
And
guess
he takes some hits.
I remember from the draft process that he's not this stiff statue quarterback, but he is a mobile guy. He's impressive on the ground. I know Dak's got the touchdowns. I'm really impressed with Carson Wentz. And honestly, at this juncture in their careers, I don't know who you would definitively say is the better player right now.
Yeah, I can't even outright say Carson because Dak, what he's done is incredible. I mean, Carson had a good game, and we have short memories, so like, wow, Carson had an amazing game. He's amazing. 17 touchdowns on the season, only 3 interceptions. That is incredible. Keep in mind, Dak is keeping the Cowboys afloat literally single-handedly outside of last week's game.
Here's the wild thing. Okay, these guys are, Tom Brady's 40, Peyton Manning's retired, but do you remember the way that was a rivalry throughout the last 15 years? And those guys weren't even in the same division. And they have their own diehard fans, people who go to bat and make their argument for them. Dak and Carson Wentz are going to be playing each other twice a year
So good.
For the foreseeable future.
I think you
It's going to
could.
be contentious.
I
That's
think
all
you could wrap it up in one way. The Cowboys wouldn't trade away Dak. They're happy with Dak. And the Eagles fans are happy with Wentz. So 100%. Everyone will just have to be happy until November 19th when the Eagles
cop out?
come.
I think we just cop
Well,
out.
in all honesty, and I'll end with this final point, I can say this genuinely. I think Dak is a much better fit for the Cowboys, and I think Wentz is a much better fit for the Eagles, and here's why. Wentz has to do more and has to create more. Wentz does not have the same weapons that Dak has.
So you're saying that you think Wentz is better than Dak?
For the Eagles offense. But if you put Wentz in the Cowboys offense, he'd force too much. He doesn't have to. You got Zeke back there. You got Dez. You have Cole in the slot. You don't have to force anything. Dak is great at what he does. Doesn't turn the ball over. Wentz would force too much in this Cowboys offense.
Interesting. Manny, since you're just so hot fire right now, take us to OT.
Going to OT. And speaking of literally OT, got to go back to the Eagles game. After they won that game, Chris Long, Malcolm Jenkins, and Torrey Smith, they were on a train at 7:26 in the morning the next day working on criminal justice reform. So those guys literally never stop. A lot of guys throughout the league are doing a lot, but have to tip my hat to those 3.
Guys, I don't know if you know Mickey Spagnola. He is a writer for the Cowboys, long time. Huge bike activist. I'm just saying, Juju, I would look there first.
Wow. Accusations if I've ever heard them. We talked about it on the show. I know Cowboy fans appreciate Dan Bailey. I know you know he's great. Just maybe spend a little extra time thanking him because, again, I don't want to write off Mike Nugent just yet, but I just got this bad feeling like we're going to know how important Dan Bailey is by the time he comes back to the action.
And that poster you have of him in your room.
Hey, Lord Bailey, hanging on my door.
Okay, we are done here, and we will see you all tomorrow for another episode.
Mickey has your
Cover
bike.
4.
Mickey has Juju's bike.